Howdy y'all, welcome back to Cam Shack Productions. As you can see, we're back in the office, which means we're definitely going to be talking about something serious today. I was watching YouTube over the weekend. I'm getting ready to go on a trip with some buddies. I was doing a little research and I came across Eric Hansen's latest video.
6 months in prison, $5,000 fine, and a 5-year probation. That's what's on the line for me. I'm on my way to court right now. My crime, you may ask? Well, camping out of bounds within the national park. This is my 3rd time going to court, and they're trying to bring the hammer down on me, it seems.
And it seems like the National Park Service is back up to its old tricks and trying to get people in trouble for things that, again, I feel like are just out of control.
We need to address the elephant in the room. Last year, we were fined over $1,000 for filming in national parks.
So Eric Hansen is a very prominent YouTuber. He is an overall amazing YouTuber. I really love his content. He's got great gear advice. He has great hiking advice. I mean, the guy is just, he's an upstanding dude as far as I can tell from watching him on YouTube. And in watching his videos, I can tell you that I believe he is a good steward of the land and is really trying hard to foster good habits and show people the right way to do things. Well, Eric is a good friend with Dan Becker. If you watch any kind of YouTube on being outdoors, you've definitely seen Dan, you've watched one of his videos. Dan is a funny guy who had a crazy medical emergency in the Grand Canyon.
Dan Becker, as we were ascending on the North Rim, the final push with the last about mile and a half to go, his body was basically shutting down. Dan's back here with me. We're struggling, but we're gonna do this. We later learned that he was going through a condition called rhabdomyolysis.
Well, Eric and the camera guys were with Dan and they still had to complete their trip. So imagine being in a national park, hitting that button, having a friend that you're not sure is what's going on with him, and all of a sudden you get home from that trip and you find out that the United States government and the National Park Service is charging you with camping inside of a national park outside of a designated area.
We 100% believed that we were complying with what the ranger had said. I was completely surprised after getting home and finally being done with this trip and having everything that had happened to receive a notice in the mail that I had committed a crime.
I mean, the story is crazy. And again, I think what this goes back to is the overreach of some of these national parks. And park rangers, I'm going to pick on you for a minute because, again, I think some of this comes back to you. There is a difference between following the law to the fullest, and there's a difference between following the intent of the law. So they started, and the ranger who actually did the rescue told them that they could not sleep in the parking lot, which again, this all happened in the middle of winter. Eric and Dan describe it as about 10 feet of snow everywhere you look. And if you were out west at all this winter, I can absolutely believe that.
We happened to be crossing paths with the ranger who actually did the extraction, who actually rescued Dan. And so we had a conversation with him and he was like, hey, are you guys moving? Last night I was cool with you guys being here because it was an emergency, but tonight you guys have to move on.
There is no damage being done to the environment. These guys are above all of that. They're walking on the snow and they're dealing with something that is absolutely crazy in my mind. So in thinking about this, in watching this video, it just brought back to me how national parks and national park rangers, which are considered law enforcement, can't find a way to be a little bit understanding when people have something going on. These guys were 200 yards from where they could have camped outside of the park boundaries. And the only reason anybody knew they were there was because of their footprints. And he is really getting hammered on this. He now has a criminal record, which I just cannot believe. It blows my mind that some of this stuff goes on the way that it does. And it kind of goes back to that subject of national parks. Why are you coming after the people that do the most for you? You know, I know that things are tough and that you all are running short. So to me, this just again seems like a little bit of an overreach. I was thinking about this, and it seems to be that The National Park Service has an issue with YouTube and YouTube content in particular.
Last year we published a video called Why We Don't Visit National Parks. To date, that video has almost 1 million views and it evokes some pretty strong emotions.
But I want to kind of prove my point, and I've been thinking this through quite a bit lately. So, somebody like Eric that makes content that gets people engaged and wants them to go out, sometimes I feel like the National Park Service feels like that's just too much exposure. However, there are several authors, and no shade on any of the authors of any of these books, but this one is specifically about being in Zion. There are detailed maps and bolt and hanger information, which, as a canyoneer, is really crucial to what I'm doing. What I want to know is, what's the difference between somebody making this book, putting it out there, selling it? I bought this in the Zion National Park's bookstore. Versus somebody going out and making a YouTube video and showing you. To me, it feels like the national parks don't really want that attention. They don't want you to feel like you can see that place, you can gain that experience. I watch most of the YouTube videos I do about other locations so I can find out the last time somebody was there, is there water somewhere in a canyon that I'm gonna be in? I'm looking for information. I wanna see that beautiful location, whatever it might be. But why is it that we keep going after people that have a camera and are actually taking video? There are photographs in all of these books. Someone set up a tripod and took some long exposures of some really crazy photos inside of these books. And that's amazing. But how come they're not hit under the same penalty or the same thing as those of us that make YouTube videos? And in Eric's case in particular, this guy was helping a friend. He was in a rough situation. You would think that the ranger that actually rescued his friend would cut them some slack. And that's what I'm talking about, park rangers. It is time for you to get off of our backs. We are going to make mistakes. We are going to do stupid things. Hopefully, it's not something that destroys anything. And when those people are out there and they do it, I say go after them.
So, here's Glenn.
Wiggle it like you did.
Wiggle it just a little bit. Whoa! Woo! Yeah!
When a Boy Scout leader pushes a hoodoo over in Goblin Valley, go after that guy. But they barely went after that guy. Eric had a much, much more serious penalty for setting up his camp on 10 feet of snow 200 yards away from the park boundary than a guy that went into a state park and pushed over. It's over 1 million years. It's some crazy number for the rock formation, and he shoved it over. And Eric's penalty was more severe because it's in a national park. And that's what I'm saying. Find some decency, find some common ground, find the ability to say, hey, you know what? You had a rough night. You were helping a friend. I'm going to let you go on this one. I can't believe you stepped off trail. That wasn't very smart. Now, the people that are out there that are putting their hands into hot pots, that are walking up to bison, you're going to get your own natural consequence for those types of situations as far as I'm concerned.
Holy shit. Oh, that bitch is hot.
You live with your karma for that. If you want to walk up to a buffalo and get a selfie, or you want to go and try to pet a moose, if you haven't seen that video, oh my God, it's the snowmobiler moose video. It's horrifying.
Oh, snap. I mean, that's why you never pet a wild moose. That thing is curb stomping that dude.
Oh, this dude just rides up and doesn't do anything.
His friend just rides up there. Yeah, brother.
He just wants a front row seat to watch his friend get absolutely destroyed. Oh, shoot! Did you see his leg? Rewind that.
wait.
Look at, zoom into his leg.
Oh!
Be my guest. If you, though, go out and video and you're respectful and you follow the rules and you take good care of the land and you're a good steward, I don't understand why the national park is still coming after you just because you have a camera. Stop going after people like this. You're gonna have an effect that one of these days is really gonna come back to haunt you. Not only that, but you're using our tax dollars to prosecute somebody that slept 200 yards away from where they should have been. They made a mistake in 10 feet of snow, cut him some slack, and stop wasting our money. Take the money that you would have used to prosecute him and put out some educational videos that somebody can actually understand. Go check out your YouTube channel, National Parks. It's not awesome. You guys don't do a great job of sharing information, and you don't do a good job of teaching people how to be good in the land. You do a very good job of reprimanding people, though, so I want to commend you on that.
But she slapped me with a $1,000 fine. All for camping out of bounds by about 200 yards in the snow where we left no trace except for some footprints.
All right, y'all. I'm sorry about the ranting. I just had to say that. I'm so tired of the National Park Service kind of pitting us against each other and pitting us against them. We all just want to be able to go out, enjoy these lands, do it safely and respectfully, and not do any damage to someplace that we love. And again, I don't believe somebody like Eric or Dan Becker or the majority of people that are out there are going to do that. So just cut us a little bit of slack, would you? All right, y'all. Hey, I'm going to ask you to do me a favor. Last week, I put out a video where I tried to play a bunch of different characters. I tried to make a funny outdoor spoof, and I really kind of threw myself out there, and it hasn't done the best. So if you wouldn't mind, but when you're done with this video, please go click on that and watch it. It was fun to make. It was really funny. And like I said, I really threw myself out there. But if it's not your scene, I totally get that as well. Well, y'all, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope to see you back next week. And I hope that I'm in the outdoors doing something really great that I can share with you and not get in trouble by the federal government. All right, y'all. See you next week. Be well, my friends.
I might camp out of bounds again. I'm a criminal now. I've got a rap sheet. I've got a criminal record. I've been fingerprinted. I've got a mugshot.